Let's get it started just like this. Welcome to the Hardway Project.
Hi guys,
Step
hey,
in
welcome to the
ring,
Hardway Project. Listen, man, we got tons to chew on today. Tons of things happening in wrestling. Just seems like every day is something new. I'm Charles, man. I'm here with my guy, John Mark. John, man, what's going on, brother?
My brother, Charles, it has been a long work week. We have been grinding. Like, this isn't like our full-time thing. We do this for fun. And
Right, yeah.
that whole theory, that whole business model got tested this week, man. It was hard to get everything in, but we got it in, and it's so good to be with you. It's one of the highlights of my week, man. We got
Same
a lot
here,
to cover
bro.
today.
Same here, man. As the kids would say, life be lifing, right?
Yeah. And, before we start, I just want to take a moment there's a war going on right now. And, Charles and I are both vets, and it's definitely on top of our mind, the safety of our men and women in harm's way. We're not going to talk about that. Just acknowledge it and sit with it. And, yeah, Charles, I don't know about you, but that's been on my mind a lot this week.
Absolutely, man. Me too. You can agree with the war or not, and that's fine. Everybody has their opinion, but what we all can agree upon is we care about the soldiers in harm's way, and we just, pray and wish and send them good vibes and good thoughts for their safety.
Indeed, my brother. So we're ramping up to Mania. It's
Yeah, man.
on the way. I mean, it's things are taking shape. Cody Rhodes, he's going in. What did you see last night on SmackDown and the week before that in terms of his buildup and the push for him and Randy?
Well, I think the Cody thing is interesting, right? Because the belt changed hands on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
The Undisputed Championship changed hands on Raw. That usually doesn't happen. That's usually a WrestleMania thing, right? So that's interesting. And reading, the dirt sheets and reading what people are saying on social, I guess Drew has a movie coming up, and that's why. No, but that's real convenient because I don't think Drew was ever that guy. I feel like they gave him this belt as like a appreciation gift.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious to me that the fans, you remember when CM Punk did the call out, like, do you want to see me go up against Drew McIntyre? Again, I don't want to be one of those marks that's like always, shitting on the talent, right? Those guys, Drew McIntyre is one of the best wrestlers in the world, right? So I want to keep things in context. However, I just don't feel that he was the man for the moment. I agree with you. He's not the man for the moment for Mania, particularly since WWE, in my opinion, has kind of had a rough year. I think this WrestleMania is kind of important, in my opinion. And so I think you need to put your absolute talent that's going to really get the marks engaged.
Yeah, it's going to draw. Yeah.
And get people to buy those really expensive tickets.
Right. And the merch sales too, right? Because that, like, who's wearing Drew McIntyre merch?
No.
Right. And you're right. Like, put it in context, man. We're not going to shit on wrestlers. Drew McIntyre, he's WWE, Universal Champion. He was, man. That you're top of the game, man. One of the greatest wrestlers in the world. But at that level, man, there's Barry Bonds, there's Michael Jordans, and there's a Scottie Pippen, right? Not a lot of kids are wearing Scottie Pippen jerseys back in the 90s. So
good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah. I mean, go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, I was going to say it's, I think it's a good thing, build it for WrestleMania. They need it. Ticket sales are slow. They've dropped prices like 3 times. I saw like the cheapest tickets you can get now went from like $400 some down to $177.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, John Mark, there's still a chance for us.
My brother, don't even, man.
That would be the cheapest thing I bought in Vegas, though. It would be WrestleMania tickets if I went.
I would love to go someday, man. I really would. I mean, not just for the matches. I mean, but my understanding is it's like a whole thing. Like all these different promotions show up. They put on sideshows, lots of fan activities. I think it'd be a riot to go. Maybe the Hardway Project can go record for WrestleMania someday.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
What do you think of Randy, man? Like, what do you think's going on with Randy right now?
I love Randy, man. Randy is the workhorse. He's the ultimate workhorse, man. He I know we talked about it earlier, but he brought the WWE through the last 20 years of just being that one of the top guys, one of the top 5 guys. He's always a top 5 guy. He brought it through the dang COVID era. If you remember the COVID era of WWE, it was tough. No crowds, right? And Randy Orton was there.
Yeah,
he was the guy. So I love Randy, man. He's one of the best in-ring workers I've ever seen. And he's one of those second generation guys that a lot of times those second generation guys don't live up to the hype of their first generation. But he did, and he surpassed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've really enjoyed Randy as a talent. I remember when, he got the mother of all pushes coming out with Evolution, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's that every talent.
Ric Flair, Triple H, him and Batista, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the mother of all pushes. And, and he carried the strap soon after. And I think a lot of people out in Markland thought that he wasn't ready to carry the strap. And I think I've even seen some stuff where he even admitted himself he wasn't quite ready. He was young. He was at the time, I think he was the youngest ever to carry the strap. And I think a lot of people kind of wrote him off after that. But he's been very steady. He shows up, he works, and he's, I don't need to defend his career. He's obviously, easily a Hall of Famer. I think he's, as you said, he's one of the top 10 for me in the business. And him and Cody, two experienced guys at WrestleMania. That's right. In terms of the ring psychology, I mean, I don't think there's a clear heel here or a clear baby face. I think both guys are kind of going through. I think it's a battle between two buddies and
Yeah.
two legends. Who's going to bring it and who's going to walk away the winner? I think that's the way this is going to be. I think fans are going to like that.
Yeah, that's interesting because, Randy's been around for so long. Obviously he was a heel, right, when he came up. But when a heel's around for so long, they turn into a babyface because people like the bad guy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And so he's no longer that heel where you just can't stand him. Like people love him. And Cody's always that baby face, and they're friends in real life type deal. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how they're going to build this up. How they're probably going to have some type of friends turn on each other, whatever that case looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at Punk and Reigns, man.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
I'm excited. I think this is one of the best things the WWE has put together in a while. And I don't think we need to reinforce the fact that CM Punk's mic skills are off the charts.
Yeah.
I can listen to him rant, which is funny because when he was younger, I couldn't stand to listen to him rant, but now I'm older, I do, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? You would think that as a young guy, I would have enjoyed listening to him rant more, but no, I mean, his mic skills are off the charts, and I think he's doing a really good job of setting this thing up. Again, two guys that fans love, and and okay, cool. We both love Punk and Roman Reigns, but they're focusing in on their differences and their heat. Just two
It's
buddies.
getting personal. Yeah, it's getting personal.
Buddies can beef. I like it. I don't think you have to have a clear baby face and a clear heel.
Yeah, it definitely is getting personal with them, which I like, and I think a lot of that, which makes for great wrestling, is it's real. Like behind the scenes, there is some realness to it. What they're saying is real. They probably really don't like each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just makes it 10 times better.
Yeah. Well, on that note, work shoots. What's going on with Jade and Rhea Ripley, man? I mean, it dominated the headlines and the dirt sheets for a couple of days.
It's really Jade and like the whole women's division, right? She's turning heel on everybody. And I love it, man. And it's funny that like marks are like going along with it, right? They're like, really hating Jade right now. And it's funny, man, because she's doing it well. Jade is just like, man, she's getting heat from the whole women's division, which is awesome. And it's going over Twitter, it's going over socials, and that's where her beef is. Like some of her comebacks are good, man.
Yeah.
And then the in-ring, man, I was watching SmackDown last night, and her in-ring, man, is getting a lot better. And one thing I noticed, man, and this might be, I don't know, man, maybe it's just me, but before she would like come out and like wrestle, and not really wrestle, but more of she would come out for a vignette, and then like, some wrestling would go down, but she was always in like high heel boots,
mm-hmm.
and she would botch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like who can wrestle in high heel boots?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And she, obviously last night she wrestled in, and her wardrobes are amazing, but she wrestled in regular wrestling boots and no botches, and she looked great. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I have to believe in the back of my head that she was, working hurt. Her physicality alone, I feel that she has another gear, and I hope to see it. And I honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing her maintain the strap at WrestleMania, because I want to see her have a real championship, to be a fighting champion. That's what you look for, right? And I think maybe she's been hurt, or maybe they're just booking her bad, but I know it's in there. I stand by my generational talent comment, which I got mocked for. I believe it's there. And, I hope that she does it. So, and also it's a great opportunity for Rhea too. I mean, she's obviously so over. It's ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I think she's top 2 or 3 of the entire business right now in terms of being over, in terms of talent, in terms of the fan reaction. She's just rock solid, man. And what a great
She
opportunity. What a
Oh, I'm
great
sorry.
opportunity. What a great opportunity for her to make Jade look like $1,000,000. Because it's one thing to be over. It's another thing to be remembered as someone who can make others, who can raise the others, right, through their in-ring performance. So I really would be interested in seeing, like, will they have Rhea put her over at Mania? I think that would be really cool from my perspective.
Yeah, man. And then the thing is, this could be a slow burn,
Mhm.
right? Like, say Jade retains the title, but then all next year, man, it's Jade and Rhea, just that slow burn, kind of like with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns a few years back.
That's right. That's right.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah,
And I think Jade, or Rhea, when she started, she was a heel,
that's right.
right? And then
Yeah,
now
she was a good one.
she was a very good one, right? But a good heel eventually is going to be loved.
Yeah,
And now she's, loved, and she's, I won't say a baby face, but she's definitely a fan favorite,
indeed. Are we seeing the death of Judgment Day, man?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like,
Hope
who's
so.
left, right? Who's left? Who's left? Dom?
Yeah, I mean, Finn's out. Interesting. I'd be interested to see if, like, Finn and CM Punk, like, come together, after that, after their beef. I didn't think that was a lasting rivalry between those two characters. I think that was just, hey, CM Punk's opportunity show. I work every week to kind of fuel that heat with Roman, but also an opportunity for Finn to get some really good exposure going head to head with Punk. There seemed to be like an undercurrent of respect and almost like a father figure. Like, I gotta smack my kid
Yeah.
around, teach him a lesson.
Yep.
But yeah, Judgment Day, it's been around for a long time. I'm all about big stables. I wonder if it's time for Dom to go solo, to start cutting his own legacy rather than, being attached to Judgment Day. Something
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about, when's he gonna go out on his own? I know he could do it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's always going to be attached to Liv, or if
Mhm.
they're going to go their separate ways. I think there's a breakup, maybe in the works.
Well, I mean, go back to that promo we talked about, with Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan, right? I mean, maybe there's something there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I really thought Roxanne was gonna be that third one, right? That was gonna kind of break them up, but it never happened. But I think that would be a good angle to pursue. But
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Jade and Liv right now are in the women's division are the heat magnets. And I think that's setting up some I think this women's division is in a really good spot right now. Got some
dude,
young talent, man.
dude, it's in a great spot. It's light years ahead of where it was just a couple years ago, which is really, really cool. Because just a few years ago, man, we weren't talking like this about
No,
the women's division.
no,
They were kind
no.
of a side, kind of an afterthought, unfortunately. And now it's, man, I think the storylines and the just everything is on par or even better with the men's side.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm looking at obviously Rhea Jade. We're looking at Liv Stephanie. We're looking at the slow burn impending breakup of the Kabuki Warriors. To have an all Japanese 3-way at WrestleMania, I think would be awesome. Particularly as Asuka appears, as she's my age.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a worker.
Crazy. Crazy.
Girl is a worker, and her career appears to be winding down, and you've got this stable of just talent coming up out of NXT. I think the women's division. Say what you want to about Stephanie, believe me, I've got my opinions, but that's been something that I know that she has put a lot into, is building the women's division. And that's great, but like the talent has to carry it. And yeah, I'm excited. I think this is going to be one of the best manias for the women's division ever
Nah.
coming up.
Yeah, I think so, man. Excited to see these storylines develop and what comes out of it. You know, uh, and we didn't talk about this before the podcast, but now that my man Road Dogg is out of creative,
Yeah.
whether it was
Well,
he can,
arguably the biggest news that came out of WWE this week, man. I
yeah,
mean,
it's I love Road Dogg, man. I mean, how can you not like the guy? From his being a wrestler with DX to just his being a dude and just being a normal human being, and his love for R-Truth and
Yeah.
his loyalty to his friends, right? I think it's something everybody can identify. You know, his loyalty's he puts his loyalty above his own work or his own, viability in the business, which is something most people won't do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting to see, man.
Yeah, indeed. So we have kind of some serious stuff to talk about
Yeah.
with OVW, man. Talk to us about what happened there.
Yeah, man, it was a botch. I saw it on socials. It was a botch. Referee, his name is Dallas. I didn't catch his last name, but he got hit off the top turnbuckle on a botch, and he had a seizure right in the middle of the ring, like a legit seizure. And the wrestler just kept on wrestling like it didn't happen. I mean, it's scary. It's scary, and they're getting a lot of heat for it right now. Deservedly so. The wrestlers are, and OVW is. Like they're just letting this dude have a seizure in the middle of the ring with no one rushing out there to even check on the guy. Good news is the guy's okay, man. He's still in the hospital as of, I think, this morning. He had a brain bleed that caused him to have a concussion and brain bleed, that botch. And he just started seizing in the middle of the ring. He's probably getting discharged from the hospital today. But yeah, man, scary stuff, dude. And OVW is getting a lot of heat. You had an interesting take on it as well, man, when it comes to the legal side.
Oh,
Like what
yeah.
could happen.
I mean, I was thinking about that as you were telling me the story, and I looked at the video. It was very scary, man. And just a reminder of just how dangerous this business is, right? And as with anything, my brother, when you start thinking about things that go wrong in the ring, your mind immediately drifts to Owen, right? And I don't want to defend the talent. They're young guys. I think they're learning the business, right?
Yeah, they're not trained medics. They're not EMTs. They're
And I think
21-year-old dudes out there just trying to develop.
exactly, and they're like young soldiers, right? The first time that shit goes south, young soldiers, they're gonna do things. Young leaders are gonna do things that don't make sense, right? But by the same token, from a promotions perspective, I mean, I think you gotta have them. I'm not saying they didn't. I want to be clear about that, but from the outside looking in, it appeared they maybe didn't have the medical staff there, and it shouldn't be on the talent to administer medical care. It should be on the promotion. And I know that a lot of these promotions, that they, as you mentioned earlier, they're just trying to make payroll and grow the business. But like medical care is one of those things that I don't think that you can take a risk on. And again, I'm not saying they didn't have it there. I'm not saying that. But from the outside looking in, it appeared they didn't. So I'll just kind of leave that there. These are people's lives, and what a tough experience for the gentleman.
Yeah, it's just looking at the independent scene here in San Antonio. I've been to and there are two main ones, and even the big league one, which is River City Wrestling. They didn't have, a medical staff or like an ambulance parked outside. I think it's probably pretty expensive. Like it's probably that costs to have an EMTs parked there outside waiting for something to happen for 3 hours is probably like they can't afford that. They're trying to pay the wrestlers and make a little scratch on top of it, maybe. I think their medical is call 911, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the rules or legislation is or just the law is of, hey, if I'm going to have a promotion here, a wrestling promotion, what's the, SOP or even law? Do I have to have some type of medics or something, EMT, something, on?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's
a
really interesting point. Like, because my understanding is that every state, the rules around professional wrestling are different, right? Because the states have athletic commissions, and in some states, I think professional wrestling falls under the purview of the athletic commissions. In some states, it doesn't because it's not considered.
Yeah, it's entertainment,
right? And so that's where, like,
skirts the line, right?
Yeah. And so, and that's kind of maybe the way it's always been accepted and the way it's been done. But all it takes, it's expensive to have medical care there. It's also expensive to have a lawsuit.
Yeah. Like you said, one lawsuit and you're out of business, dude. That's it. Yeah.
And then, also too, again, I'm just a mark. I'm not a talent. I'm not a promoter. but you and I both have worked with a lot of Homo sapiens in our past, and people want to work with you if you take care of them. And part of it is like, hey, I'm going to have medical staff there in case something happens. I would suspect that talent, when they're considering bookings, would think about those things. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I would.
I think talent at that level, they're just trying to get booked.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like the Owen Hart always, anything goes wrong, man. You always think about that Owen Hart incident where the show must go on.
Yeah.
It doesn't must, but the show went on.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if Vince could go back and he's got 2020 hindsight, he would have stopped the show.
I sure as hell hope so.
Yeah. Like you could even see the Undertaker, man, I think he was the guy his match was next, and you could tell he was been out of shape, and he can stay in character like no one else.
Yeah.
I mean, they were literally wrestling on Owen Hart's blood, the blood-stained canvas. It was just horrible.
Yeah. I mean, and that, and you and I have seen like action in the ring, like completely break down, like when there's a fan invasion, for example, right? Not that we encourage that kind of behavior. Although I do admit that I do enjoy watching the talent beat the shit out of fans who jump into the ring. But like I've seen like obviously the break in action character break, and then they resume action. Medical, like again, in this world, it's hard to tell like what's work and what's shoot. But you can sometimes see like cases where a talent takes a big bump and maybe they're concussed, and you can see like the opponent buying them time or the opponent laying on top of them and trying to whisper in their ear like, "Hey, are you okay?" I mean,
or let's take it home, right? Let's take it home.
I mean, and let's face it, man. Like my man Kurt Angle, probably my favorite match of all time is his Mania with Brock Lesnar.
Oh, gosh,
it's just an epic match. And Brock broke his neck. Kirk was basically wrestling with a broken neck.
He won gold medals with a freaking broken neck,
right? But like I have to believe that those and I think the deal is like, if I understand Kirk's shoot interviews correctly, he basically told him, he just checked to make sure he was okay, that he was breathing, and a serious checkup, and he basically said like, do you have enough just to finish this thing? And I just have to believe maybe that those days are kind of over, man. The stakes are too high from a medical perspective.
Or, you bring up a good point, man. I love Kurt Angle and Shane O'Mac.
Yeah.
When they were trying to throw each other he was trying to throw them through that glass, that wasn't right. Like, holy Jesus, man.
That's hard to watch, if I'm honest. Like that is hard to watch. And I remember, and in that situation, Kurt, who I would suspect is calling the match, had a lot of, I would suspect he had some tough decisions to make. Like, do we really want to do this? But he sure did. He put him through the other side, man. And
word is that Vince was like, hey, stop it. Like, hey, let's bring it home. And Kurt was like, nah, because the ref was like, hey, let's bring it home. And Kurt's like, nah, we're good. We can keep on. Like, and you got it. There's a certain mentality, and this is not something we really talked about before, but you look at an Olympic gold medal wrestler, like a true athlete like him, even wrestlers, just a collegiate wrestler, man, those guys are savages. I wrestled in high school and really couldn't hack it because the coach was just a savage. I mean, like, he punished us, and that's high school. Yeah. So you make it to the Olympics and win a gold with a fucking broken neck. Like, that mentality, man, there's a 1% of a 1% in this world, of a 1% in this world that actually can do that. So there's that mentality, I think, he kind of brought with him and is always ingrained in him. That is in his DNA, that just never quit, like just being a absolute savage mentality. And I think that's probably the reason behind that.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Like
he's not going to stop.
Hey, man, in the Army, like when I was, a new guy would show up to the unit, like in a leadership position, and he would be like, "Oh, I used to wrestle at Ohio State." We'd just sink in our chairs, because that's the mentality that's going to be brought to the to the unit. Those guys are made.
Calm down, dude. Yeah, like, calm down, dude.
It
was like in the 82nd, man, we get the guy from Ranger Bat, right? That got kicked out of Ranger Bat, or not kicked out, but they get cycled out, and he comes to the unit, and you're like, all right, dude, this ain't Ranger Bat, man. Chill out, bro. Chill out. Yeah.
Simmer down now.
Yeah, man.
I mean, but one thing about Kurt, if you look at some of his shoot interviews, like Kurt listened when he got there. Like he learned how to make that transition from being a shooter to being, a professional wrestler. And, I think that, I think that there were guys like him before, like that were shooters that maybe didn't make it as far because they didn't learn the business. And I think that one of the keys to his success is you take that physicality, you take that intensity, and then you learn how to wrestle in the WWE. You can make a Hall of Fame career, man, as he did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, man, let's segue, man. I want to talk about Fatu, Jacob Fatu. He's finally, I think, getting that push that he deserves.
Yes.
He's what we talked about earlier. Like he came in as a heel, right? Came in as a Samoan werewolf, the heel. And I think I know he is. He's getting over. People like him. He's just got a natural aura about him where people like him. And he's got that like main event aura. He can wrestle with anybody. His mic skills are getting a lot better, man. He cut some SmackDown last night. He cut some good promos, and his story is amazing, dude. Dude was locked up for a little while. Like, he didn't have that linear path that, a Cody Rhodes had or somebody that is likable had.
Yeah.
His path wasn't linear. So what are your thoughts about Jacob Fatu? Because I'm a huge fan.
Oh, I mean, dude, he's a legit tough guy, man. And I like the fact that there are complex layers to his character. I like characters where you can't tell if they're a heel, if they're a baby face. This guy looks like he's just a cruise missile waiting to destroy anything, man. Like anyone standing in his path. It's almost like he's got this road warrior type of thing going on, right? Where
Yep. No, I like that. I like that comparison. Yep.
I think of him as like a hawk and animal type of guy with this, for the Samoan. You and I both love the Samoan talent, man, and the tradition and the history that comes along with it. And
I think Braun Breaker is a lot like that as well, right? Like I think they're very similar in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, like, as you said, there's a very clear push that's going on here. And I remember it seen his last match. I think it was Fatu. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Fatu. I seen his last match when all the talent were going to the ring and they were coming back. Some fan had this idea that he was going to try to high five like Fatu, and like Fatu like he walked by.
And he's got gold teeth too, which just adds to it, bro. Like he's got like legit golds in his mouth, man.
Yeah.
So it just adds to the mystique, right? Like, yeah, I love it, man. And then Samoans are just, we've all worked with them in the army, and they're just different, right? They're built different, man.
Yeah.
They're like they come out the womb legit tough guys.
But yeah, man, no doubt about it.
At least from my experience.
Yeah, no, 100%. I remember like combatives training and getting matched up with the Samoan guys. If I can survive this, I'll.
Yeah.
Or playing rugby too, man.
Not gonna do it, man. Not gonna do it. Yeah. So I'm thinking his push is finally. I'm thinking he's ready for it. He, like I said, his wrestling ability is off the charts for a big guy.
Yep.
And his mic skills and his aura is getting better. I think his entrance they could work on his entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, his entrance is kind of weak, man. So I think, and that's production and whatever. Other than that, man, I think he's a 5 out of 5, man.
Yeah. It is definitely a bright career ahead for him, and he's got a big legacy to carry forward. And it's as we mentioned in previous podcasts, it's great being I don't want to say, I'll just call it having familial ties to the business can be both a help and a curse, right? It's hard to fill someone else's boots.
Yeah.
And so, I'm pretty stoked about him.
No, absolutely, man. Segueing on, man. So Raw's going to be here in San Antonio on Monday. Today is Saturday that we're recording, so my next podcast is going to be after Raw. I got pretty good tickets, man. Got pretty good tickets for wasn't too expensive. I waited when the tickets first came out. They were stupid expensive, but anybody who buys tickets when they first come out is real mark.
Yeah,
you wait. And then you get them on the secondary. You wait them on the secondary market right before, and you usually can get some pretty good deals.
Yeah. I'm excited for you. So, what's the card shaping up to be in terms of what's being publicly put out there?
So Brock Lesnar is going to be there. So I'm thinking he's got that open challenge to the locker room for WrestleMania match, right? And we all know, and signs are pointing to your boy. What do you think about that? Two monsters in the ring,
dude. I mean, go back to Rumble. You saw it when they were just sitting there staring at each other across the ring. I think this is it for Oba, man. I think he's getting the big push. I mean, in my opinion, he's already over. The fans love him.
Yep.
Shot putter from University of Alabama, big kid. I think can't wait. If that's the direction they go, and I hope it is, I think that's going to be WrestleMania gold.
You're talking about Oba, John Mark. Yeah, there you go, man. You know he's getting over, man. I seen a dang social media clip with this old white lady. She's probably in her 60s doing the Oba dance.
Dude,
bro,
he's got it, man. It's there. It's there for the taking, man.
African-American male, you get an African-American wrestler, you got a 60, 70-year-old white lady doing your dance.
Yeah.
You're over.
You're over, man. He's awesome. And, I know that Brock isn't in his prime. We all know that, but.
And Brock's been good with putting over people.
He has.
Like, he's had no point. No. People talk what they want to talk about Brock, man, but he does business.
He does business, and I think Brock's is gonna be a great accelerant for Oba's career here, and that's the way this is gonna play out. There's no way, in my opinion, Brock leaves with a W at Mania. If he does, my emotions would be I'd be feeling some kind of way about that, as my wife would say.
Yeah, man, that would be everything's pointing to that, man. I don't see it going any other way. If it does, it's stupid. But yeah, and then Monday, dude, it's like I said, it's Monday Night Raw here in San Antonio, Texas. It is 3/16, and so rumors are the man himself, Stone Cold, is going to be here. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. And I didn't realize it was 3/16 until after I bought the tickets.
Bro, like, what is going to be your reaction when you hear that glass break?
Dude, it's insane. So the only thing I can kind of compare it to, I've been to a bunch of live events. Probably the loudest pop I've seen is the biggest pop I've seen prior to this was Booker T coming out of the Royal Rumble here in San Antonio a few years back. San Antonio, Houston, man, we're very close. South Texas, it's just South Texas. Him come out, like, that pop was so loud. It was like, can you dig it, sucker? And I mean, you could feel it in your chest, the pop. And that's kind of my litmus that I compare pops to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, that pop's going to be crazy. Because Stone Cold did live here in San Antonio for a little while. He's from, North Texas. He's, I think he lives his ranch is in like Nevada right now. But I think if the money is right, he's going to be here. And that's what I was thinking about, right? Because remember, he was supposed to be in Undertaker's spot at the last WrestleMania, but the money wasn't right.
Yeah.
And so
he's doing business, man.
He's doing business. So I think if the money is right, man, and I think if the money's right, he'll be here. So,
bro, I can't imagine what that's going to be like in San Antonio, Austin coming out. You're going to have to I hope it happens for you, man.
Yeah.
When that glass breaks, people are going to lose their shit.
Yeah, me too, man. But I'll be happy even without, man, because you got Brock Lesnar, Oba's probably going to be there, Cody. I mean, it's going to be a good Raw, man. It's the build up right now is really kind of ratcheting up to WrestleMania. So I think it's a perfect time to go to Raw. So yeah, super excited, man.
Yep. That's good. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to watch it live then. I'm not gonna be able to pull out I'll watch it tomorrow morning on the train ride. I'll actually have to watch it along with you.
Okay, sounds good, bro. I'll be texting you as I go, man. So
awesome.
So let's transition. You got deep dive duties today?
Yes, sir.
You've picked an interesting character. Like when you text me who it was going to be, I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's so many layers to it. So without further ado, Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, for my deep dives, I like to read books about talent, and I've got like 8 different books right now that I've got loaded into my audio, so you can see where my interests lie. Yeah, so I've always been interested in Bob Holly simply because his character when he was at WWE, he was a tough guy, right? Like he was kind of an enforcer. I love workers. I love guys on the mid cards that just like everyone has a role in the business, right? You have those carrying the straps, you have talent enhancement, and then you've got workers, right? And I always have been naturally attracted to workers. I like those on the mid cards that kind of keep things that kind of make everything happen week in, week out, just grinding. And Bob Holly kind of fits that role. I've always wondered if he was a legit tough guy. Well, I read his book. So, Bob grew up on the West Coast. He grew up, in those Pacific Northwest territories, which is interesting. And there's a lot of really good talent. If you going back to territory days, it came out of the Pacific Northwest. He also mentioned that he did follow wrestling a little bit. He also followed roller derby, which is interesting because he said,
that's crazy. Like roller derby is crazy, dude. Like
it is
if you watch
crazy.
those old videos, like holy crap.
I'd rather take a bump in the ring than freaking take a bump in roller derby any day of the week.
Take a skate to the head, like Jesus, man.
And he mentioned in his book, he mentioned, I think it was in a shoot interview that I saw, where it's basically the same format, right? It's just in a different canvas, which is kind of interesting. He made his way out to Alabama, which I think is where he spent most of his life. Kind of he's billed from Mobile, and he took he was interested in it. And it's interesting. He said back in those days, like now, young talent who want to break into the business, there are schools you can go to, right? You can go to schools, you can enter a training pipeline. He mentioned in his book that like back in those days that didn't exist. Like it was pretty much like you had to know someone who knew someone in the business and try to grind your way through that. And I thought that was a really interesting difference between the way things are today and the way they used to be. And he ended up getting a tryout, and he ended up, breaking in. I think he started off like doing local shows down in Alabama, but this was the territory days. So he made his way up to Memphis, and the Memphis scene was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some legends that came out of the Memphis scene.
100%, man. And, it's really interesting, when you start talking about young talent trying to break into it. Back in the territory days, your life was go to a show, drive 400 miles back home. He was working in a blue collar job at the time. I think he was a welder. I think he did something like that. And then
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Right. On par.
Yeah. On par. He was a welder.
Don't expect him to be in like in an office anywhere.
No,
right?
no, not Bob Holly.
Yeah.
And like I think he did like that. And then, he had that life where it's like, okay, cool. Got booked. I'll drive 400 miles. I'll go wrestle. I'll drive back. That's not an easy life, stuff.
Yeah, and go weld.
Weld. That's not an easy life. And he talked about that. I guess there's a little bit of respect that came out. There's a guy paying his dues, doing things the hard way. He raised enough eyebrows where this is really interesting. He's putting guys over in WCWs on an individual booking. So he was in. This was before the Bischoff days. I think this is back during the Jim Herd days, I believe.
Okay. Yep.
BCW and he was going in and Cornette told him one time, "Hey, don't come back. Not because you're fired." He says, "You're too good just to come here and do squash jobs for WCW. You're too talented." And so with that in mind, Cornette, who built a territory in the Appalachians, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, brought him on. And I think it was Hollywood Bob Holly. I think it was the name. It was Hollywood. And last night I looked up his some of the videos of his performances, and it couldn't be, in my opinion, more un-Bob Holly.
It's kind of like when the Stone Cold was in the Hollywood Blondes.
Exactly.
Right? Thick Texas accent.
Yeah.
Thinning hair, and he's with blondes, like, come on, man.
And Bob Holly's role was like, I'm from Hollywood, and I just got off the phone like with the stars. I was at a party in Beverly Hills. He's wearing a pink singlet with glasses, long flowing hair, and his role, I think, was there just to piss off rednecks, and he did a really good job of it, man. And and he would, he kind of came. So this is a guy that kind of like worked his way up to WWE. Now I was looking at like personality characteristics, trying to cherry pick things about him that kind of like satisfied me in some ways. It kind of confirmed what I always thought about Bob. He did a shoot interview, and they asked him like, "Hey, who's your ride with?" He goes, "No one." Like he was a guy that rode by himself. People didn't pull ribs on him. He said, like, no one pulled ribs on me. He just came across as a guy that was like really serious, and probably not someone you're going to want to rib too much. But he made his way up to Vince and got in, and his reputation, I think, kind of speaks for itself. He had a reputation for being a kind of stiff worker, and I guess if we had Bob on here, he probably would be very like matter of fact about that. Yeah, and like he was a stiff worker. Like Ron Simmons was a stiff worker, Joe was a stiff worker. Everyone has a role. I thought it was kind of interesting that JR, he said in his book that the company, the guys that were booking, would put the new guys in the ring with him just to kind of see what they're made of. Yeah.
that's tough.
Could you imagine being a new talent trying to break in and having to go up against Bob Holly or
I'd probably
JBL?
go back to welding or whatever I was doing, you know?
I know, right? I mean, again, like the guy came up in the bar fighting scene, and I think he only lost one match brawling in bars in Alabama. Like
Yeah.
he
And
was
he's a legit tough guy,
a legit
absolutely.
tough guy. One of the funniest stories. Do you remember like the brawl for all?
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Bart Gunn, right? Bart
that's right.
Gunn won it.
That's right.
It knocked out JBL.
Knocked him out cold, baby.
The crazy part is Bart Gunn had no, like, boxing experience before that. Like, he found out he was going to he found out he was entered into it, so he started training. So he had, like, a month of training or something like that and just started not starching people, starching dudes.
Yeah, starching is the right word. I mean, dude, like I looked at the card for that. There were some. They put. I mean, I have.
Well, there's legit tough guys in there,
There were
absolutely.
some tough guys in there. Steve Blackman was in there. Like, I can't believe Steve Blackman didn't win it, but I guess it was a shoot. Like, there was some mystery around that. Is this a work? And from what I gather, it really wasn't. My understanding was that JR was kind of the mastermind of this, and I think they had it in his mind that Dr. Death Steve Williams was going to win it.
Yep, that's who they all wanted to, yeah.
And Gunn freaking flattened him, man. So there's some really funny stories that Bob told in his book about that whole experience. I guess Bob's pride is that he was the only guy that Gunn didn't knock out. He went the full distance with him, lost on decision, and he hangs his hat on that dude. He's like, I'm freaking proud, man. And I
Yeah.
got the idea that Bob wanted to do it again. I don't think the crowd really enjoyed it. I think it was one of those things that we look back upon with nostalgia and say that was pretty cool. But at the time, I don't think the fans were really embracing it.
Not at all. At the time, it didn't go over well at time. I remember at the time, and it was just kinda like, you're just watching amateur boxers, you know? So it's kinda yeah.
Yeah. But what did you I mean, at the time, I thought it was kind of a joke. I don't even remember watching it, actually. I remember just like
Yeah.
not being
It's more of
really.
a nostalgia thing, right? I think
Yeah.
it hits our nostalgia, but at the time, man, it didn't get over at all, you know?
Yeah. Of course, you and I, speaking of things that at the time, a lot of people didn't really get behind, not just Marks, but as I understand, also people within the company didn't really get behind the whole tough enough thing, and I don't know. I mean, I remember Maven won the first Tough Enough, and Maven put together a pretty solid career.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
got a solid podcast now.
Maven's got a great podcast. Dude, how awesome it would be to get him on here.
Yeah, it would be. And he's very honest about it, right? Very open and honest about it, man. So it's not he's
I personally like Tough Enough because to me, it's all about the story of a dreamer trying to make their way into the business. I mean, who knows, maybe if those opportunities were available to us, you can see
yeah.
yourself like trying to throw your hat in the ring and seeing if
Yeah.
you can handle it. And I have mad respect for Maven. It could not have been easy for someone to come into that locker room. And I think it's because there's a culture of you got to pay your dues. You got guys like Bob Holly, right?
Yep.
Who pay their
Yeah.
dues. And now you're like this young hotshot that won a reality show, and now you're in the business. And I think guys like Maven, Pewter learned his lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he chops he take from Benoit, Bob Holly, and hold on a second. Daniel Pewter learned his lesson, taking chops from Guerrero, Bob Holly, and
Yeah.
Chris Benoit. Like those guys, I think probably had a really tough road to hoe when they got into the locker room and had to earn their respect.
No, absolutely. I think they had that locker room was nasty to him, I'm sure, because that guy's taking one of the spots, right?
Right.
The guy's coming for my spot, and so I'm not going to let him. And I think it's different than, and the guy didn't pay, they didn't pay their dues, so those guys were like green as hell. They didn't come up from OVW or whatever promotion and work their way up through the independent cycle. I think a lot of those guys that kind of worked their way up into the WWE, the locker room has more respect for those guys because they did it the right way.
That's right.
Whereas this new reality show, like who is this guy?
Yeah, no,
like
100%.
who's this guy?
It would almost be, think about it. I mean, you and I busted our ass to get where we got in the military. It's almost like some guy getting pulled off the street saying, hey, he's in the unit because he won a reality show. Are you tough?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be the same dynamic, right?
I think The Miz did it well, though, right? The Miz, he's still relevant. He's still out there.
He is, man.
he's man, I've come to enjoy him more and more, like him more and more. But when he came up, man, he was, and he did it perfect, man. He was that perfect heel. Like he got that heat. Like I think Undertaker didn't let him in the locker room for like the first 3 years or something
That's
like
right.
that. And
That's right. That's 100% correct, man. I mean, and I think that is the infamous scene where, Bob, coming back to Bob Holly, I think it was like season 2 or 3, I can't remember which one it was, where Bob like basically did a shoot on one of the participants.
yep.
And it was pretty graphic, man. Like he beat this dude's ass, man.
It was an assault, like straight assault.
And so, you get Bob's side of the story, and Bob is, of course, very matter of fact about it. He goes, yeah, he was disrespecting the business. He's over there in the corner, grab-assing with his friends, laughing. And while we were trying to do instructions, so I wanted to show him the way, is what he said. So he brought him in and he smacked him around. It was very controversial, and Bob took a lot of heat from front office over it. He broke the guy. Now, my understanding is the kid ended up, he didn't win the competition, but he ended up going to other promotions and working. So, that's great. But like Bob, they asked in the shoot interview and also in the book, he said, yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. He's disrespecting the business.
Yeah.
At what point does that become gatekeeping? At what point does that become like a legitimate part of the business where you have to earn your way? I think every organization is kind of like that.
I think you need those guys, though.
Mm-hmm.
Every organization needs those guys. You look at the NBA, right? You had Dennis Rodman, you had Bill Laimbeer, you had guys like that. You need those guys. You need those tough guys that are gonna. I think every organization needs that guy, and Bob Holly, I think, was that guy.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Call it gatekeeper, call it what you want, but listen, that kid had a new respect for wrestling after that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was some other we I don't want to heap too much praise on Bob Holly. Of course, Bob has his side of the story and he tells it. But there's an incident in the ring where he allegedly sandbagged Brock Lesnar. Now, I've never been a wrestler, so I'm not going to provide commentary of whether he sandbagged him or not, but that was what the dirt sheets were talking about the next day, the internet. And Bob defends himself. He says, no, I didn't sandbag him. He explained from a technical perspective, kind of what happened. But, that's a big deal. Brock Lesnar's your golden goose, baby. And for the business. And when something like that happens, it generates a lot of attention. But Bob's like, I didn't sandbag you. That's BS. That's internet bullshit is what we called it.
Yeah, and I don't think Brock Lesnar's one of those guys you want to fucking sandbag.
No.
Like, all right, Bob Holly, you're a tough guy and we get it, but Brock Lesnar's a whole nother level.
100%, dude. I think Bob would even say that himself.
Yeah, that's one dude you don't want to have like legitimate heat with. And so, no.
And then there's the whole steroid thing, and I don't want to paper over that. That's part of his legacy. I think that context is important. Everyone was doing it back in those days. I think I will say that the same thing with Barry Bonds, the same thing like with talent at the time that were roiding up. People, you find out who your friends are, man. When you're delivering the goods because you're roided up, and people love you, but and we all know it, and it's like a hidden truth, right? But then when it becomes a public thing, then people want to abandon you and say you're a piece of shit. I have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and so I can understand his bitterness about that. But WWE was a publicly traded company. We're talking about legal things. The WWE had to do what they had to do with steroids. I'm not saying, and it's good for the talent. It's just not healthy to do this in an undisciplined kind of way. I think there are people that argue that under medical supervision, that stuff can be quite beneficial. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger's talked about that.
Yeah, I think, studies are coming out nowadays, TRT and stuff like this under doctor's supervision, man, is, there's probably 20 wellness clinics here in San Antonio that offer TRT and stuff like that.
Yep.
And, I think all the signs are pointing to this it's actually a good thing for us. But back in the day, man, I think it was kind of the wild, wild west, right?
Yeah.
So there was no doctor's supervision. There was,
no.
Hey, yeah. But at the time, you said context is everything. Everybody's doing it, right? And so if you're trying to secure your spot and secure your contract year after year with WWE, and you're not the top guy, but you're hardcore Holly, right? So you have your niche, but you got to look a certain way to keep that spot because everybody around you is getting bigger and more muscular and looking better. Like you're going to do what you can do. You're going to do what you need to do to feed your family.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like. I love JR, dude. I have nothing but love for JR, but no one's perfect. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way when JR was shooting on Bob Holly, on YouTube, and was saying like, well, the guy got what he kind of deserved. He was chewing on the painkillers and he was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing. It's like, give me a break, dude. WWE made a ton of money off these guys, just like MLB made a ton of money off of Barry Bonds,
Yep.
Mark McGuire, and Sammy Sosa, and guys like that. I mean, that to me, like, it's one thing to say it is what it is. It's illegal. We can't do it. We're moving forward. But to sit there and shit on guys who enriched you,
especially JR. He wasn't a wrestler. He wasn't putting his body on the line, and he was making more and more money. His contract was bigger because these guys were bigger.
Ding 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 ding. So
like, look in the mirror, buddy. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. That's part of Bob's legacy. I mean, he's obviously out of the business now. He's kind of quiet. One thing I failed to mention, like, the dude is a legit like race car driver.
I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, like
I forgot about that.
He wanted to be a wrestler, but it was more accessible down in Alabama for him to be a race car driver. So he did that, and he was good. In his book, he talked about, like, it's interesting though. This is what's interesting. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe it's irony. So Bob, basically, like, I guess it was like a plumber he knew, a guy that, and he basically said, but the guy was into racing. And he said, hey, man, like, you should come race and I'll help you build your car. And so he and Bob built Bob's car and he took it out in the track. We're talking like lower Alabama, like, minor league stuff. But he took it out in the track and he was smoking it. And like, he was bumping, he was working his way to the front. And the old boys there were telling him, hey, man, you got to pay your dues. You need to like stop driving like a maniac. And so that didn't register with Bob. He was a very aggressive driver. He went all out and did really well. I think that, but the whole irony of like the old guys telling Bob, like, hey, you need to like pay your dues. And then later down the line, he's like, working dudes stiff in the ring because he wants them to be tough enough. Anyway.
Sounds about right for Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the hardcore thing, the reputation for being stiff. He had stiff matches. Yeah, I mean, I think, legacy wise, like, during that era, he had a role to play. He played it. And, he had a lot of really good things to say about guys and gals in the locker room. He did not like working with China. He made that really freaking clear in the book.
It's crazy. He's not the first. A lot of guys, Jericho, a lot of guys, even after her death, they're still talking about it, which is kind of cringe and kind of weird. But man, if more than one are talking about it, there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Yeah. So. He had his role. He played it, and he appears to be a guy that doesn't really have any regrets. He shot his shot, and I don't know. I kind of respect. He did me in my mind. He kind of embodies the hard way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so no one's going to put him on Mount Rushmore, but he has his fans that like him because he was who he was. He was Bob Holly, and he brought it to the ring.
Yeah, man. He's like I said, he's not going to be a fan favorite, right? If you go to a Meet the Wrestlers Comic-Con, right, and he's there, he's probably he's not going to have a huge line at his table because I think dudes are legit, like, kind of apprehensive just to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
Like if I saw him walking down the street, I probably wouldn't say anything to him because I don't want to get my ass whooped or, just get heat.
And that's probably the way he likes it. I suspect he comes across as that kind of guy.
Right?
Like, yeah, he's definitely a respect to earn type of dude. And so, yeah, that's Bob Holly, man. That was my deep dive on Bob Holly. He's a worker.
Good job, brother. Good job. Interesting guy, man. Great pick. He's, I think, complicated to say the least. But he's just like a hardcore dude. Like that's Hardcore Holly. Like that's him. Just no nonsense. Fucking there's black and white and that's it, And he took the business serious. And, I think he was great for business because his name, like I said, I think we talked about this earlier, but like he was Hardcore Holly before the Hardcore Championship.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if I had to pick a guy that one of his contemporaries that kind of reminded me of him, I would have to say Bad News, man. Like, Bad News, stiff, no nonsense. He didn't care about putting guys over. He cared about money. He cared about Bad News was a pro. And I know a lot of people didn't like him, but I'm not one of them. He was a professional. And if you crossed him, you're gonna get yours, man. He commanded respect. So I don't know. There's some parallels there. I don't think that Bad News got up in the steroids and all that. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but like, yeah, they come across to me as kind of similar guys, kind of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, it's funny, man. That whole steroid thing. Like, I think revisionist history, time heals all. We look at that nowadays, and then we don't blink an eye. It's assumed.
Yeah.
We all know, right? And it's not, I think a logical human being that can put things in context realizes that everybody did it. And they did it for self-preservation, to stay on the card, to stay working so they can feed their families. And I have no qualms about that. I have no negative feelings about that at all. Same with baseball, sports. Man, listen, back in those days, everybody was doing it. You had to do it to keep your spot so you could feed your family. I would probably do it too.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, dude, I'm sorry. When people ask me and I love baseball. Baseball next to wrestling is my passion.
Me too.
And you ask me what was the best season in the history of my time? It's 1998, dude.
Yep. They brought back baseball. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
back baseball.
Every morning. This is before the internet. Oh, it was the internet, but before like what we have today.
Social media. Yeah.
Like literally PT in the morning. We'd show up for PT in the morning with the troops, and people would be talking about, did McGuire and Sosa hit a home run? That was the thing that was on everyone's mind. It was also during the Attitude Era.
Yep.
Dude, NBA, music, wrestling, baseball in the mid to late 90s, never will we see it again. It was
peak. Yep.
It was amazing.
Yep. No, man.
Some of the NBA games actually, particularly in the Eastern Conference, reminded me of WWE. It was pretty rough.
Well, you had Rodman. Rodman is, NBA Hall of Famer. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's NWO for life.
Yeah, that's right. There's something about that time where those like things all kind of came together. It was tapped into something that was going on at that time. I can't quite put my finger on it. But you know who's not in the Hall of Fame? Bob Holly.
Man.
Anyway, we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah. And now, if he did get the tap or the nod, would he even say yes and go in? Does he have beef with Trips or?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Bob Holly always, at least in my research, he always came across as a guy that's pretty practical. I suspect he would appreciate the recognition. I think the other question is, would they? Because there's just too much baggage there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think the guy, as you mentioned, Rodman, Pete Rose are in the WWE Hall of Fame. Why not Bob Holly? Just saying.
Right. Yeah. There's been lesser. I mean, Donald Trump's in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like, you got that, right? So cool, man. Like, no, great job, brother. Great job. Interesting segment. Our last segment, man. So I went to a local independent show here last week with my son, Blackbird Wrestling, here in San Antonio. It's kind of it was a good show, man. I would say it's very independent and very more local than anything. River City Wrestling is the other big promotion here in San Antonio, and River City Wrestling is a little more, it's kind of like that next level. So this was very local, very independent. But one great thing, and it was a great show. Don't get me wrong, great show. It was actually in a bar.
Yes.
It was the Fermentia, which is downtown Eastside San Antonio, which is like, it was in a rough area, dude. I brought my son and I was like, oh man, this is kind of sketch. Like I was totally expecting my car to get broken into. I kind of already had that in my brain. Like, all right, if I come back and my car's broken into, that's just what it is. But it didn't. But anyhow, it was a great show, great talent, man. Like, there's so much talent here, man. Yeah, but one of the main attractions is this girl named Mia Friday. Mia Friday, she's from Houston. She got booked to come to San Antonio. She comes to San Antonio a lot. People book her, but she was one of the main talents that was kind of the selling point of this Blackbird Wrestling promotion. 20 years old, phenom. Like, she's an up and comer. I'm Bianca Belair-ish type. And it's interesting because she's African American female, and her style is luchador. Awesome. She don't have the mask, but she's got that luchador style, and that's what she builds herself as Mia Friday, luchador. So I say that to say, talked to her. She had a merch table there. I talked to her, man. We're getting on the podcast next week, man. So
Our
yeah,
first talent, man. That's freaking fantastic.
first talent. So when she's up there with, you know, in the WWE on par with, like I said, Bianca Belair or Jade Cargill, man, we'll be like, yeah, we had her on the podcast 10 years ago.
That's so exciting, Charles, man. That is great. That is great news, man. I cannot wait to have her on here.
And it's so exciting to me too, because you don't see a young black female wrestle. Like nowadays we see it, but most young African-American females don't want to be a wrestler, right? Like that doesn't appeal to them. But I think with representation now, and I'm a white guy speaking on it, which be careful, but representation now with Bianca, Jade, Lash Legend, these African-American female superstars, I think there's representation now. And I think that may appeal to young African-American girls now more, right? Because I think representation matters. And her story, she's going to tell her story. And it's on her social, but her dad took her to a WWE event when she was like 11 or 12, and she just fell in love with it. And she started wrestling like the year after. So she's been wrestling, I think she's like 13.
Man,
and she's 20 now. So and she's super athletic, man. And I think she's going places. So
that's fantastic news, brother. I cannot wait. And I'm gonna, as soon as I get done here, I'm gonna jump on our socials and start checking her out. So I'm looking forward to it. Our first talent.
Yeah,
exciting.
Man. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Excited about it. And then, man, excited to go this Monday Night Raw, and hopefully Stone Cold shows up.
I hope so too. If it happens,
hopefully that glass breaks. You know,
man, goosebumps even thinking about it.
Hell yeah, bro. No, man, I think this wraps us up our show here, brother. I appreciate you as always, John Mark. I know you're busy, man, but I appreciate taking the time to do this.
Hey, man, we're both busy, and this isn't work. This is fun. And just as a reminder to our folks out there, we're up on socials. You can check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and X. So check us out. We'll be dropping content, dropping more commentary. And
we have over 2,000 subscribers now. Our last podcast with Jason Glass, I think we're over like 8,700 views. Somewhere in there, we're close to 10K. So I appreciate the love, y'all. We definitely appreciate the love.
We do appreciate the love. This is as close to becoming talent as Charles and I will ever get. This is our dreams here. So, we just love wrestling so much, and it's fantastic.
That's it, man. There's so much noise out in the world, right? Real world stuff. There's so much noise, and this is kind of our break away from it. Like I think our listeners and everybody else this is your break away from reality. And if we can be a part of that for a little while, man, we just appreciate that.
Amen.
Cool, brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. And like, subscribe, listen to us, and leave comments, man. If you want to see something or have a idea or just want to chit chat about wrestling, man, hey, comment away, bro, and we'll definitely engage with you.
Yes, sir. Have a good time at the show, brother.
All right, appreciate it.
All right,
brother.
Bye.